to our Summer School Success Series. My name is Kristen Sishin. I am the Marketing Director here at EHTC. Thank you for joining us today. This is our second webinar in our Summer School Success Series. If you missed the first webinar and would like to view it, simply log on to EHTC.com, and at the bottom of our homepage is a banner that says Summer School Success. If you click on that, you'll be able to see an entire syllabus of all of our lessons plans that we have coming up, along with, if you click on the last webinar, you will be able to view that as well. Each time you participate in this series, your name will be put into a drawing in September at the end of the series. We will be drawing a winner to win an Apple iPad, so that's a great incentive to continue to follow this series. Now I'd like to introduce you to Dan Holzen. Dan Holzen is EHTC's Business Development Consultant. He has over 18 years of experience in sales and marketing. Plus he is a CRM specialist. So let's welcome Dan.
Thank you, Kristen, and good morning. I'm glad that you've chosen to join us here today to talk about CRM strategy. As Kristen mentioned, we work with organizations and companies all around the Midwest in helping them develop strategies to really manage their customers and manage their relationships better. And a lot of organizations have already implemented CRM. Maybe you've implemented it 10 years ago, maybe you've implemented it 5 years ago, maybe you're thinking about implementing it in the near future. Whatever the case may be, it's always a good idea to take a look at your current CRM strategy in the light of how technology has changed, how customers have changed, how our environments change. CRM strategy is a critical component to managing your relationships, and it's always a good idea to make sure that we're doing that. So today's discussion will focus on getting the right mindset in place and some basic steps to putting in a CRM strategy. And really, core to developing that strategy, well, let me just go over the agenda here first. Yes, we're going to take a look at the customer experience mindset and where organizations need to be when they start to implement CRM or when they start to think about putting in a CRM system. I'm also going to take a look at today's customer, because today's customer is changing pretty dramatically, and we need to take a look at how customers are expecting to work with our businesses. And then also building your CRM strategy. We're going to cover 5 steps that are critical in developing that strategy. So before embarking on any CRM strategy, the proper mindset is really essential. You may find this hard to believe, but there are actually many businesses out there that I speak with that feel that they have a real good handle on knowing their customer. And of course, all of us feel that way. But there's plenty of change going on in the area, and it's always good to take a refresher look at today's customer and understanding that customer experience and how that fits within a changing competitive environment is very important. So CRM strategy is ultimately about the customer, and you need to put yourself in that kind of mindset before you embark on this journey. So let's think about the customer experience. When you look at your business, when you look at your organization, what is your customer experiencing? So there's many companies that do this really well. Many companies that you have just an outstanding customer experience. And one of those companies that I'd like to highlight here today is Zingerman's. This is a business over in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and they have, it's really not a restaurant, it's not really a store, it is a food experience. They travel the world, around the world, to bring in the best, highest quality food and allow their customers to experience that food. The Zingerman's mission is here on the screen, our mission is to share the Zingerman's experience. Selling food that makes you happy, giving service that makes you smile, in a passionate pursuit of our mission, showing love and caring in all our actions to enrich as many lives as we possibly can. That's a mouthful, isn't it? It does seem like a lot, but really, everyone in this organization, every employee that you interact with, understands this mission. So they are all on the same page, and I think that in itself, is worth noting. So when we think before you start to embark on your CRM strategy, it's important, and I encourage people to really take a hard look at the customer experience and what that's like. I mean, Zingerman's does it so well that they actually offer a corporate training course on the customer experience and customer service and how best to do it. Another company I'd like to highlight is Patagonia. And the mindset of the customer at Patagonia, this is a brand of shoes from Wolverine Worldwide. The customer experience is much more than just purchasing shoes. This company, Patagonia, seeks to engage with their customers on so many different levels. They appeal to the environmentally conscious consumer. And so, in addition to purchasing great shoes that allow you to experience the environment, they allow you to get involved in different campaigns to support the environment. And they have an entire knowledge base of information on their website that tells you how they produce their products, where they're produced, and what impact their production has on the environment. So, they have an engagement with their brand that I think is pretty superior. A company that's a little bit different, but still is on the same page as far as understanding the customer experience is Overstock.com. Now they really don't seek to spend a lot of engagement with their customers. What they want is the shortest, most efficient possible time to purchase with their customers, and that's their value that they bring. So their mission, as you can see here, really is all about creating an efficient purchasing process. So that is their customer experience. So again, thinking about your business and your customers and understanding what that experience is like is very important before setting your CRM strategy, because that is the ultimate end game. You want your CRM efforts to enhance that customer experience and help in every way possible to make that customer experience consistent and of high quality. So that's the customer experience. The next topic I want to discuss is today's consumer. And today's consumer is changing pretty drastically. I visit a lot of businesses and organizations that certainly feel they know their customers really well. I remember about 15 years ago sitting down with a business owner and him emphatically telling me that there is no possible way that he will ever have a website for his customers. His customers have no interest in engaging with their business on a website. Well, fortunately for that business and for the owner, in the relatively short time after those discussions, they changed their mindset. And today, this business has more than half of their sales and revenues come from their website. So today's customer is changing, and it's important that we as businesses and organizations change too. So when we look at a consumer today, these are some things that we can say about today's consumer. One, they have a lot more options. Their options are not limited to the geographic area that they live in. They can purchase things from around the globe. Our customer today has much less time. They're very busy. They have very busy lives, both personally, professionally, with their work, with volunteers, volunteer time. They just have less time. And the purchase decision is really made on their own terms now. it isn't about an end game of trying to market to customers now and getting them into our store and having them purchase. Purchase decisions are not in that linear fashion anymore. They're really more a series of moments versus a continuous experience. And I'll expand upon that in a little bit. Our customer today also expects a very tailored experience. If I'm a loyal customer of a business, I expect that business to know who I am. And today's customer has a much louder and more powerful voice. That can be positive or negative. But today's customer comes to the plate with an extensive network of not just personal network that they interact with on a face-to-face basis, but in a digital network, a network based on Facebook that might have 600 followers and friends, a network that's based on LinkedIn or Twitter feeds where there's hundreds and hundreds of followers following them. So every consumer that has this vast network obviously has a much louder voice. There is the expectation to know me. A customer wants to be known when they enter a business. They expect businesses to understand their purchase transaction and that they are a loyal company. And I guess you can pretty much sum everything up by saying that today's consumer is equipped technology-wise much greater than they ever have. And technology is certainly the enabler that has allowed the customer all this power. So again, today's empowered consumer, as we like to call them, is much more informed. They have more access, they have more choice, they have more voice, they have more technology, they have more influence, and they certainly have more control over the buying experience. And they have more social consciousness. So to meet the needs of today's consumer requires businesses to be much more agile and understand their customers much better. I like to think of, there's plenty of examples all around. If you just look around at how the consumer is dictating how business is done. Recently, about 2 months ago, Bank of America announced that they were going to charge a $5 fee for ATM withdrawals. And within a couple hours of that announcement, they had a revolt on the social networks. Consumers were enraged by this exorbitant fee from a company that is quite profitable. So within a matter of days, the consumers were able to rally themselves through social networking and build a campaign around pulling accounts from Bank of America. And within a couple days, Bank of America actually went back on that and took away that new policy. So that is an example of today's powerful consumer. Another way to look at how the consumer is evolving is to look at the actual purchase experience. And this purchase experience has changed significantly. As I mentioned, it's not necessarily about going into companies attracting people to come into their store and they purchase items, or even attracting people to their website and purchasing items. It's much more a series of events that allows the consumer today to make a decision on a product that they want to purchase. So instead of purchasing in a continuous sequence, like they see an ad, they might ask a friend, then they take a Saturday and they go to the store and they make that big purchase decision they've been thinking about. It's much more a series interrupted by many different variables and many different influences. So a consumer today, when you look at a purchase decision, in the past, something that might have taken an average of 2 weeks to come to a decision and purchase, now could take a couple minutes up to a couple years. There's so much variability in that purchase decision now because it is on the consumer's own terms. So this is a picture here of the Apple Store in New York City. Now, I haven't actually been to this Apple Store, but the real goal here is not really to sell products, but to engage a consumer, to expand the consumer's mindset and to allow them to experience their technology. It's really more of a playground, if you will, that when a customer is attracted to this store, and who wouldn't be, it's pretty cool looking. But the end game when you walk into an Apple store is not necessarily to purchase a product, but to experience that product in the eventual hope that you will eventually purchase a product, but typically it's not in the store. Typically that's going to occur on a website. Most of Apple's sales occur actually on the website, or once you have one of their devices, it occurs over one of their devices. So today's consumer certainly has changed. Now I want to get into setting CRM strategy and some tips that we recommend that companies do. And just to expand upon what our role as a company, EHTC, is in this whole process, a lot of times we will help organizations develop CRM strategy, give them advice like we're going to do here today. But for the most part, developing that strategy is more an internal function of your organization. And so you can take these tips and develop your own internal, we have a storm going on right now, but you can take these tips and start to develop your CRM strategy. Once you have that strategy developed, then a company like EHTC or our firm is able to come in and help you deploy and implement that solution. And so that's where CRM strategy fits in. There's really 5 critical areas of CRM strategy that I want to highlight today. And the first is identifying the key stakeholders. Tone at the top is critical. It's critical in almost any initiative that is important to businesses and organizations. But a successful CRM strategy needs to have key stakeholders, and they need to have a key leader, someone that is responsible for sharing that vision and setting the vision. So when you start to think about your strategy, it's very important to map out the key people in your organization that are going to lead this effort. And you can identify the key stakeholders, but you're also going to identify champions throughout the business or organization. As this graphic illustrates, typically within each business unit you would have some type of CRM champion. So as you would, in the sales area, you would have 1 or 2 champions that really are excited about CRM, understand it, want to push the envelope, want to make it work within the organization. And the same would hold true with customer service, marketing, support, different business units within your organization. You also need someone that understands the overall ability of CRM and how it can impact an organization. And so that would be, right there under the C-level leadership, your ultimate CRM champion. That person really is responsible for driving CRM and in making that have an impact on your organization. So identifying the key stakeholders and identifying the champions and the tone at the top are very critical to strategy. So it's important to map that out. The next area I want to talk about in developing CRM strategy is the selection of the impact areas and prioritizing those areas. CRM encompasses really 3 general areas within a business and organization. The sales, the marketing, and customer service area. Now, CRM ultimately, in its end game, is going to want to encompass all of these areas. But I'll tell you realistically, when you're starting to implement CRM, you're going to want to tackle these different areas at different times. You're not going to want to do this all at once. So it's important to understand where you want to focus. Maybe you want to focus on measuring the marketing, maybe on the sales side, focus on measuring sales investment or understanding the opportunities that are in the sales pipeline, which would be opportunity and sales management. Maybe you want to focus on managing customer service, better communicating with your customers, financial management, supply chain operations, order tracking and fulfillment, those kind of things. Start to define where CRM is going to have an impact in your organization, and then prioritize where you want to go at, what parts of the organization you want to go after. Let's just say that we want to look at customer service. That's an area we want to improve. It's one of our strategic initiatives. So how can CRM have an impact on customer service? So here are some potential examples of goals. Maybe we want to have 100% resolution of cases within 2 days. Maybe we want to have a dashboard that tells us all the service requests that are done on our top 10 customers. We want to have visual boards to understand where, what's happening with those customers. Maybe we want to offer web chat as a new avenue or way to interact and engage with our business, or understand types. So these would be goals that we might have for CRM within the customer service area. And when you're developing the CRM strategy, it's important to start to identify those goals. They don't have to be locked in stone at this point, but you want some tangible goals on paper as you start to develop this strategy. The third key area of CRM strategy would be mapping out the interactions within your organization with your customers and identifying unstructured data sources. Okay, so what I mean by this is if we look at our organization and we start to segment marketing, sales, project management, customer support, there may be other areas that we're going to put in here. We want to identify all the areas within those business units where we're engaging with our customers. So for instance, under marketing, our customers are engaging with our marketing team through the website. They're engaging through different advertising. They're engaging through social media. Maybe we have a pre-qualification sales, inside sales team that they're engaging with on the phone. The key here is that we want to put on paper and map out where our customers are interacting with our business, okay? Because ultimately CRM is going to impact those areas. And we want to start to identify at this point where there might be some problems or issues, or where we underperform as an organization within this map of interactions. Maybe we do a really bad job during project management as we're implementing a project in communicating with our customers. So that's an area that we can take and say, all right, how can CRM help us better serve our customers in project management, okay? So mapping out the customer interactions is important. The other thing is identifying unstructured data within the organization. And these would be silos of information. Typically, what happens in a business is that you have all these different silos of information. Your marketing department, for instance, might work with an outside company to handle all of their email nurturing campaigns. So all the emails that go out, they're handled by the marketing department. They have a separate database. People can unsubscribe or subscribe through this service, and we can start to look at stats and understand, who's interacting on email campaigns. But that is not connected to our other systems. It's not connected to the purchase system that links them to all the products that they've purchased in the past. It might not be connected with customer service. That indicates that maybe we should not send this person an email because they've had 10 different complaints with us and had some really bad experiences and don't want to hear from us anymore. So when I say unstructured data, it's important to understand where those pieces of unstructured data lie, and we can map that out. And it's important to do that within CRM strategy. Once we've done that, we're on to the fourth key point in developing CRM strategy, and that is kind of at the heart of CRM, and that is creating the customer record. So the customer record is at the heart of CRM, and it essentially is the ultimate be-all and end-all information point for all of our customers. So we have one customer, every interaction we've had, every purchase they've made, every service complaint they've had, the ultimate end game is to have that all on the customer record. So at this point in CRM strategy, we want to start to think about what that customer record is going to look like and what it's going to have in it. Here's an example of our CRM system that we use, which is Microsoft Dynamics CRM, and you can see that we have, a ton of information on here, but ultimately it lists one account, and it has all the information that we as an organization want to know about that account. There's demographic information, there's preferences, there's purchase history, there's all the contacts that are part of this account, so we understand who works, who we're engaging with within this account at the organization, what department they're in. We understand what marketing lists they might be on, what campaigns we've sent to them. We understand all that. So that is on the customer record that we want to look to build. And we really, when we think of building our customer record, it is the ultimate depository of all the information and all the interactions too that we have with customers. So when I talk about interactions, I'm thinking of more traditional interactions such as email, or we also might have traditional telephone calls, things like that, meetings, record of that. But in addition, we also want to have the new modes of communication, which would be social media. Maybe we want to record all the Twitter interactions that we have. So it's both traditional interactions as well as evolving. Now today's customer record looks a little bit different than traditionally what we've seen. And today's customer record also contains these additional components, and it's changing all the time. In the past, we might not have had cell numbers on that customer record, but today and going forward, it's important to have those customer cell phone numbers recorded, because down the road, we're eventually probably going to want to be texting those customers, and texting service is becoming quite a popular way of interacting and engaging with customers. Social media handles should be included on the customer record. A blog address, if they have a blog, or understanding how they're interacting with our blogs as a company. So that kind of information we have to account for in the customer record. Also connecting with peers, their contact preferences, competitive insight, all of these kind of things can be used. Okay, so the customer record is a critical piece in your CRM strategy, and building your customer record is kind of at the heart of CRM. So when we think of customer record, now this is an example of EHTC's, one of our customer records that we have in CRM, and there's all kinds of flexibility to add and remove different fields of information. So it's important at this point to start to think about what kind of information we want on our customer record. Obviously, the real basics, and many CRM systems are out there in place. Basically, they're an enhanced contact database. They basically have the customer name, customer address, and they might have a couple or two emails, phone numbers, and a couple contacts. But the customer record is much more than that. And this is where marketing plays a critical role in developing CRM strategy. Because in addition to the traditional things that we have in a customer record, There are many other things to consider that can help us to know and understand our customer better. So if we look at today's customer record, it contains much more than just that basic information and basic opportunities. I mean, one of the things that we want to include on the customer record certainly is sales history, and we have to understand what this customer has purchased from us in the past, understand kind of their buying behaviors. We also want things such as cell phone numbers and social media handles, because the marketing department and the salespeople are going to start, in customer service, are going to start interacting on different ways with our customers, and that would include social media. Recently I was at the auto shop getting some repair work done on my car, and they asked for my cell number and said, we'll send you a text when it's ready, or if we have a question, can we just send you a quick text. Much more convenient for today's generation and myself to just receive a text from the auto shop and understand that my car is done, or if they need a quick answer to something. So organizations and companies are expanding the way they communicate, and so when we look at the customer record, we have to account for that, and we have to account for what's coming down the road, and that would include texting, Twitter, Facebook. We also want to understand how the sentiment is with our company and with our organization, and a lot of sentiment can be picked up from our customers in blogging activity. So if we have a couple blogs that we write about at our company and one of our customers is interacting on that blog, it might be great insight to have that from a customer service standpoint or from a sales standpoint. So accommodating in the customer record a blog address or different blog interactions will be important. It may not be important currently, it may not be a focus right now, but within the next few years, that is certainly going to be critical. So once we have the customer data card in place, then we've reached a point where we can really leverage CRM tools. And CRM tools are changing all the time. And we see cool things come out all the time that we want to have. But as I said before, the heart of CRM is that customer data card, the customer record. And until we have that developed, at least an understanding of how that should be, we're not able to really leverage the different tools that are out there. Just as an example, these are some of the tools that you'll find out in the CRM marketplace that are available today. I mean, email nurturing tools. There's a ton of email nurturing tools out there. But the real win is if you can integrate those email marketing tools with your CRM data, with ultimately the customer record. And so having your customer record ready to accommodate that allows you to easily implement an email tool or utility. And the same would apply to social media management and being able to communicate and or monitor social media activity where your company or organization is mentioned. Dashboards and reports are great tools that can really give you great insight. Customer call centers, to have a quick dashboard on the customer record of understanding all the different products that they've bought, to have a quick visual to show that can be very impactful in trying to service your customers. So the list goes on. There's lots of tools out there, mobile apps, loyalty scoring, text management. All those things are available to organizations that have implemented a successful CRM. So we've just gone through 5 points of CRM strategy. I'm just going to repeat them: identifying the key stakeholders, selecting impact areas and prioritize, map out interactions and unstructured data, create the customer record, and the final one is setting the vision for the future. Setting the vision for the future, it's important obviously to realize that CRM is not a destination, it's a journey. And once you've identified your key CRM leader in the organization, it's that person's responsibility to set that vision for the future and to understand, how CRM is going to be used in the future to create ultimately that great customer experience. As a recap, CRM provides, these are some of the base tools that they provide. So when we're developing CRM strategy, understanding these, basic functions is a minimum requirement, but taking those 5 points and really understanding the customer experience, what that is, and putting yourself in that mindset, and having a good understanding of today's customer, building that right strategy are keys to moving forward and implementing CRM. So I thank you for joining us today. I hope you were able to learn something. There will be a replay of this webinar on our website, and feel free to visit our website on a regular basis. Our Summer School Success Series is available, and we have different blog sessions, we have different white papers, we have a lot of information in helping you build and manage relationships better. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.